No one really teaches you how to deal with money, yet everyone expects you to just know. It's almost cruel when you think about it. Life pushes you to choose a career, a future, a direction, all at the same time. And somehow, you're supposed to avoid every financial mistake along the way? But here's the truth no one says out loud. Your decisions with money were never about money. They're about fear, comparison, insecurity, and the stories you've carried with you since you were a kid. And that explains a lot about the phase you're living right now. In your 20s, you feel this pressure to get everything right, while at the same time feeling completely lost. You look around and it seems like everyone has life figured out, except you. And that silent feeling of being behind pushes you into quick, emotional decisions that seem logical in the moment, but end up costing you later. You're not messing up because you're careless. You're messing up because no one ever showed you what actually controls your choices. And this is where everything starts to change. There's a completely different way to understand money, one that has nothing to do with spreadsheets, perfect investments, or magical formulas. It's a perspective that explains why you act the way you do and how you can finally take control. If you understand this now in your 20s, you gain an advantage almost no one else has. And that's exactly what we're about to explore together. When you enter your 20s, it feels like life is just beginning. But without noticing, you already carry a fully formed story about money, a story you didn't choose. It came from how people around you talked about bills, from the arguments you overheard about spending, from the things you admired, and from the fear you felt when something was missing in your house. This invisible story starts shaping your decisions long before you even think about numbers. That's why some choices look impulsive, but in reality, they're just old patterns repeating themselves. And there's another thing no one warns you about. In this phase of life, you feel a massive pressure to figure it all out fast. You look around, especially on social media, and people your age seem to have better jobs, better clothes, better trips, better everything. And even when you know a lot of that is just highlight reels, a part of you still compares yourself constantly. That comparison creates anxiety, and anxiety pushes you to spend, to move quickly, to chase validation, not because you're irresponsible, but because your brain is trying to relieve the uncomfortable feeling of being behind. And here's the frustrating part. Nothing about those decisions look wrong when they happen. You think, I deserve this. I'll figure it out later. Everything will work out. But small decisions become habits, and habits become results, especially in your 20s when your relationship with money is still being built. This is what the book explains so clearly. Bad financial decisions almost never look bad in the beginning. They look normal, as if anybody in my situation would do the same. And it's this feeling of normalcy that opens the door to a much deeper force, one that controls the way you handle money far more than you realize. Before we get into that, tell me in the comments, what's one financial decision you regret, and what did it teach you? When you start looking at your life more closely, you realize something important. Your relationship with money didn't appear out of nowhere. It was built slowly, through everything you saw, heard, and felt while growing up. Maybe you heard your parents talk about bills with fear. Maybe money was never discussed at all, which is already a message by itself. Maybe you saw people around you celebrating every time money came in, or fighting every time money ran out. All of those moments shaped your money psychology long before you ever earned your first paycheck. And in your 20s, you're still reacting to those memories, even if they don't match who you are today. That's why two people with the same age and the same income can behave completely differently with money. One might be scared to spend. The other might spend to avoid thinking about life. Neither one is wrong. They're just repeating emotional lessons they learned early on. The book explains it in a simple and powerful way. You don't react to money. You react to your history with money. And when you understand that, the weight of "I should know better" starts to disappear. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to understand the patterns you've been copying without realizing it. And once you accept that your money psychology was formed long before adulthood, something else becomes easier to notice. The hidden patterns you keep repeating and the emotional forces driving your financial decisions. And those forces lead directly to another truth, one that shapes almost every choice you make in your 20s. At some point in your 20s, you realize something strange. You're not just living your life. You're trying to keep up with everyone else's at the same time. This isn't an accident. It's one of the strongest forces in money psychology. Social comparison affects you so subtly that it feels natural. You see someone your age achieving something and instantly ask yourself if you're falling behind. And without noticing, your financial decisions stop being yours. They become an attempt to match a standard you never chose. But comparison is always unfair. You're comparing your real life, with doubts, flaws, and bad days, to the edited version of someone else's life. That creates an invisible addiction to status, a quiet urge to prove you're doing well, even if it hurts your finances. And that's why so many financial decisions in your 20s feel normal, while being driven by emotion. Clothes you didn't need, trips you couldn't afford, moments of dopamine that solved nothing except the discomfort of feeling behind. The book reminds you of something essential. Real wealth is silent. Status is loud. Social comparison makes you spend today what was supposed to build your tomorrow. And by the time you notice, those habits become hard to break. Habits that push you toward quick fixes and away from the decisions that truly matter. And this leads directly to another powerful force, one that distorts your entire idea of success and failure. In your 20s, it's easy to believe there's a perfect path, a secret route that everyone seems to know except you. But one of the strongest ideas from the book is the opposite. Your financial life is shaped by a chaotic mix of luck and risk that no one fully controls. You see someone getting rich early and think, "I should be doing that too." But you don't see the hidden opportunities they had, the unexpected chances, the mistakes they avoided by inches. It wasn't all skill, and you're not doing anything wrong. On the other hand, when something goes wrong for you, you immediately assume it was your fault, that you're not good enough, or that you're bad with money. But the truth is, much of what goes wrong in life comes from factors no one could have predicted. The book makes this point clearly. You only see what happened, never what almost happened. And that means comparing your progress to someone else's is pointless. You're not playing the same game. You never were. When you accept that there's no perfect model for getting rich early, everything shifts. You stop chasing magic formulas, and you start focusing on what actually matters: consistency, patience, simple decisions you can control. Starting to invest young isn't about choosing the perfect investment. It's about not letting the fear of making a mistake paralyze you. And once that clicks, it opens the door to another realization, one that explains why you always feel like you're not doing enough, even when you actually are. There's a thought that follows you longer than you expect. It's still not enough. You earn your first paycheck, save a little, achieve something, and somehow you still feel behind. That feeling doesn't come from numbers. It comes from your psychology, shaped by years of watching other people seem more stable, more confident, more ahead than you. And that emotional scarcity creates a kind of financial anxiety that's hard to describe. The dangerous part is this: that feeling doesn't go away when you earn more. it actually gets stronger. You buy something, you feel relief, and then a quiet voice shows up. Okay, now what? That's why so many people fall into cycles of spending, impulses, or the constant search for the right next step. It's not a lack of discipline, it's the fear of never being good enough. The book highlights something essential. If you don't define your own limits, the world will define them for you. And the world will always ask for more. When you understand that more was never the solution, everything becomes clearer. You're not chasing money, you're chasing emotional safety. And no material achievement can fully replace that. This is the moment when many people finally understand how to change their relationship with money, by seeing that the feeling of scarcity doesn't disappear with success, but with awareness. And that awareness leads directly to another common distortion, confusing real wealth with the appearance of wealth. At some point, you start believing that wealth is what you can see. Cars, trips, clothes, a lifestyle that looks impressive online. All of it seems like the definition of financial success. But the book makes something very clear. What you see isn't wealth, it's consumption. Real wealth is invisible, quiet, almost boring. And that's exactly why your mind gets confused. It looks for external signs of success to feel secure and ends up copying behaviors that don't match your real priorities. This confusion becomes even stronger because you're constantly bombarded with comparisons. If someone your age buys something you wish you had, your brain automatically whispers, "I'm falling behind." And that feeling pushes you into expenses that drain what actually matters, your ability to build wealth while you're young. The appearance of wealth gives you quick relief, a hit of dopamine, a sense of, "I'm doing okay." But real wealth requires time, patience, and financial habits no one posts on social media. And because your mind wants immediate comfort, you end up choosing what looks right instead of what is right. Eventually, this starts to hurt. You realize that while you were trying to look like you're doing well, your financial independence was getting further away. But this moment of discomfort is important because it shows that you're finally seeing something most people ignore in their 20s. Life doesn't reward people who look rich. It rewards people who act with self-respect. And once you understand the difference between appearing wealthy and becoming wealthy, you're ready for the next realization, a truth that changes everything when you're young. The insane power of time. In your 20s, time feels infinite. You feel like you can mess up now and fix it later. You can invest later, save later, plan later, because later always feels available. But here's what almost no one realizes. Time isn't just passing, it's multiplying everything you do. It doesn't give you instant rewards. Nothing dramatic changes from one day to the next. And because of that, it's easy to ignore. But while you're not paying attention, time is quietly building the foundation for your next 10, 20, 30 years. And ignoring that changes everything. The unfair advantage of your 20s is simple. Small moves create exponential results. Saving $50, $100, or $200 a month feels pointless right now, until you realize that time turns small into big and turns nothing into regret. Most people don't use this phase to their advantage because they're hunting shortcuts, quick wins, instant results. But the truth is,
The best financial outcomes don't come from speed. They come from small, consistent decisions made while everyone else is distracted. And here's the part no one says out loud. It's not about how much money you make. It's about how much time you give your decisions to work for you. If you understand this early, you don't have to race. You just have to continue. But if you ignore it, you'll spend years trying to catch up to a version of yourself you could have become. And when this finally clicks, you see the next truth the book repeats again and again. Financial behavior matters more than financial knowledge. At some point, you realize something surprising. Knowing everything about money doesn't mean you'll use that knowledge the right way. The book insists on this idea because it's simple and incredibly human. Ordinary people with consistent financial habits build more wealth than highly intelligent people who can't control their behavior. That's why so many people who understand investing still struggle with the same financial problems. It's not ignorance, it's emotional mismanagement. And this is why your 20s matter so much. You're learning how to avoid financial mistakes during a phase when your emotions are intense, unstable, and impulsive. Knowing how to invest as a beginner is great, but it won't help if you can't say no. No to impulse buys. No to the fear of falling behind. No to the pressure of having what everyone else has. It's not about mastering charts or technical terms. It's about mastering yourself. And that's a skill money can't buy, but it transforms every path you choose. To make this journey easier, I left a link in the pinned comment to the 30-Day Wealth Habits Challenge. It guides you step by step, day after day, through realistic financial habits you can actually keep for years. Once you understand that good financial decisions begin with behavior, and only then with technique, everything becomes lighter. You stop feeling dumb for not knowing everything, because you realize most people fail not from lack of information, but from emotion. And strangely enough, that gives you strength. Because when your mind learns to act with calm, you immediately rise above most people, while they're still stuck reacting to impulses. And that clarity leads straight into the next truth. Most bad financial decisions start small, silent, and almost invisible, right where no one is paying attention. Here's the surprising thing about bad financial decisions. They never start big, they start small. A quick purchase, just this once, a subscription you forget about, something that feels harmless, comfortable, normal. The book explains it in a way that hits hard. Your mind doesn't see these choices as problems. It sees them as tiny emotional rewards. And those rewards become habits. Habits you repeat without thinking. The danger is that these patterns all share one trait. They're silent. You only notice them when the consequences show up, and then it feels like everything went wrong at the same time. But it didn't. It happened slowly. Every time you tried to relieve financial anxiety by spending, every time you ignored that quiet voice saying, "I don't need this," every time comparison pushed you into choices that weren't yours. It wasn't a lack of financial discipline. It was your brain trying to protect you from short-term discomfort, even if it hurt your long-term future. Once you see this mechanism clearly, you understand something powerful. Changing your relationship with money isn't about fixing big problems. It's about fixing small decisions. Your future self is built in the tiny choices you make every day. It's in those moments that you say, "I respect myself," or "I'm running from something." And from here, one skill becomes the dividing line between people who drift and people who grow. Patience, the ability to wait, to build, to stay grounded while your emotions try to rush you, something very few people in their 20s ever develop. Patience sounds simple, almost basic, but in your 20s, it becomes one of the hardest skills to practice. The world keeps telling you to move fast, success now, results now, money now. But the book reveals a deeper truth. People who learn patience early gain an advantage no one can take away. Because patience isn't just waiting, it's staying calm while you wait. It's building in silence while everyone else is chasing shortcuts. And just like compounding, patience has a cumulative effect. It protects you from impulsive decisions. It protects you from spending out of anxiety. It protects you from abandoning a good plan just because a shiny new promise showed up. Patience gives you clarity, and clarity helps you make smart financial decisions. People who lack patience chase shortcuts. People who cultivate patience build habits that look slow on the outside, but are monumental on the inside. And here's what no one tells you in your 20s. Patience is a form of emotional wealth. Once you understand that, you see why most people fail financially, not because they lack talent or knowledge, but because they can't wait long enough to see their decisions pay off.
Starting early gives you something invaluable: time to practice this skill before life becomes heavier and more complicated. And this practice shapes everything: how you build wealth young, how you respond to fear, how you see yourself. And that sets the stage for the next step: turning this clarity into daily habits that support your financial life for years. Before 25, you're still shaping the person you're becoming, and that includes your relationship with money. This is the phase where you decide if you're going to spend your life putting out financial fires or building something that actually supports you. Strong financial habits don't start with big decisions. They start with micro commitments, small actions like setting aside a fixed amount every month, tracking your expenses, or automating tiny transfers. These choices feel too small to matter until you realize they're the anchor that keeps your life stable when everything else feels chaotic. And the most interesting part is this: habits don't depend on how much you earn. They depend on how emotionally organized you are. If you make little, you save little. If you make more, you save more. The size doesn't matter at the beginning. What matters is teaching your mind that money is something you direct, not something that controls you. The book reinforces this idea. The people who learn to manage money early develop an emotional independence that goes far beyond financial independence. It gives you peace. And financial peace is rare in your 20s. Once you understand that habits matter more than numbers, everything shifts. You don't need to master investing right away. You just need to start with the basics. Control essential costs. Avoid debt that drains you. Invest slowly and consistently. The power of these habits doesn't show up immediately, but it shows up. And it shows up in ways that surprise you. And with this foundation in place, you're finally ready to organize your financial life without fear, a necessary step before building any practical checklist for managing money in your 20s. Managing money in your 20s doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need complex spreadsheets. You don't need to understand every detail of the stock market. You just need a simple system that works in the chaos of real life. And that system starts with 3 pillars. 1, know what comes in. 2, know what goes out. 3,
know where you want to go. When you're clear on these three things, financial anxiety drops because you finally feel in control. And control is something almost no one in their 20s experiences. The next step is building small habits that keep your system running even when your routine becomes a disaster. Automating a small investment amount, even a tiny one, gives you consistency. Setting aside money for emergencies protects you from impulsive decisions. Limiting credit usage keeps you from confusing wants with needs, a very common trap at this age. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be predictable. Predictability is what separates young people who build wealth from young people who constantly put out fires. And the third step is keeping your mind in the right place. This means refusing to compare your financial progress to people living completely different realities. It means accepting that you won't always get it right, but you can learn quickly. Managing money in your 20s isn't about having all the answers. It's about building a structure that supports you year after year. And once that structure is in place, you're finally ready for the final shift, changing not just your habits, but your entire relationship with money. Changing your relationship with money isn't about learning more. It's about seeing better. Once you understand that most of your decisions come from your past, from comparisons, from unorganized emotions, something finally clicks. You realize you don't need to know everything to start. You just need to change the way you observe money. The book shows that your financial life improves when you change how you interpret your own impulses. And that shift can happen right now, before those impulses turn into permanent patterns. Change begins when you question your automatic reactions. Why do you spend when you're tired? Why do you feel guilty when you save? Why do you avoid checking your bank account? Questions like these reveal truths you've been carrying for years, and those truths are what free you. When you understand your emotions, it becomes easier to make financial decisions you can actually sustain, not out of obligation, but because they finally align with who you want to become. This is the moment when your money mindset moves from survival to growth. And the most encouraging part is, this transformation doesn't require perfection. It requires awareness and the courage to admit what wasn't working. It requires a willingness to build a path based on who you want to be, not who you were trying to impress. When you change your relationship with money early, you don't just gain financial freedom, you gain emotional freedom. And that freedom prepares you for everything that comes next, including how this story ends. Now that you've made it this far, pause for a moment and think, how many of these situations have you lived without noticing? How many financial choices have you made on autopilot, guided more by emotion than intention? There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone goes through it. The difference is that now you finally understand where these patterns come from. And knowing that changes everything, because it gives you the chance to choose a different path before life chooses one for you. So let me ask you something. What are you going to do with this knowledge? Are you going to keep letting comparison, anxiety, and impulse make decisions for you? Or are you going to take control of your financial story from this point forward? You don't need a huge transformation. Everything starts with one simple habit: saving a little, investing a little, thinking twice before spending. What matters is taking the first step, any step, to break the cycle that's been pulling you back. And to make this easier, you'll find a link in the pinned comment to the 30-day Wealth Habits Challenge. It guides you day by day through realistic financial habits you can sustain for years. If this video made you reflect even for a few minutes, that's already a sign you're ready to build a completely different relationship with money. A relationship that's lighter, smarter, and far more conscious. To keep learning and growing, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Here, you'll find more content about money psychology, financial behavior, and how to build wealth while you're still young.